Okay, I'll go ahead and start recording. Welcome back to Intro to Speech Understanding. This is lecture 14. This will be actually the last lecture, and then after today's lecture, you have 2 weeks until July 31st. A little bit. I think it's actually. I think it's a bit over 2 weeks now to finish up the homework. So we have 14 homework assignments, of which most of you have done 1 through 13. And so please, if you have not yet finished the homework, please do go ahead and finish that up. Today I'm going to just go through lecture 14. So let me go ahead and bring that up. All right, so in the past 3 lectures, you've learned that there's a speech recognition package in Python, and there's a TTS package in Python that allows you to do text to speech. And then last lecture, I went through a lot of information about HTML. And today we're going to try to put all of those things together in order to create a personal assistant. This will be something like an artificial intelligence that can respond to your speech input and that can tell you what time it is or tell you a joke or show you your calendar for today. And so I want to kind of go through how that personal assistant works and what are the different pieces that need to be coded in order to make that personal assistant do those tasks. So the whole idea is that this personal assistant, let me go ahead and click down to it. The personal assistant will be just an AI agent such that if you say, what time is it? Or what time is it right now? Or anything like that, it will tell you the current time. If you say, tell me a joke, or I'd like to hear a joke, it will tell you a joke. And if you say, please open the calendar, or open my calendar, it will open your calendar for you. If you say anything else, it will say, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. And as you can see, this is going to be a series of if then else statements specifying, do we want what time, joke, what day, I'm sorry, or do we want jikan, jodan, nan nichi, etc. Then it will respond appropriately in English or Chinese or Japanese. So first of all, let's start with the simplest of those tasks. Let's start with the task of trying to figure out what time it is. In fact, the datetime package in Python, let's look up datetime Python. The datetime package in Python gives the basic time and date types. It really creates an object. Datetime creates an object. So here's the datetime module, and the datetime.datetime is an object that describes that's able to parse dates. So for example, datetime.datetime.now, that method creates an object which is the date and time of right now. Right? And then once you've got the date time in a particular format, then you can specify, once you've got the current date and time, then you can generate object, then you can print out information. So you can create a datetime.date object with a particular year, month, and day. You can create date.today, which specifies the today's date, or you can create from timestamp that will take a particular timestamp and generate the time from ISO format if you have an ISO format as the input. And then once you have that date time date, from this ISO format or from the calendar or anything else, then you can do things like format the output. So you can generate the output in various formats using, for example, this strip time will specify the date input, and it will specify that you want it in this particular format for the output. So we have here the %D, %M, %Y, meaning the day, month, and year, hours, minutes, and seconds, and so on. So here are the different directives that you can use in specifying exactly the format in which you want a particular output date formatted. The weekday and the abbreviated name, the weekday and the full name, weekday as a decimal number, day of the month as a zero padded decimal number, all kinds of different detailed formatting of the output date. We're just going to, for now, print it out in ISO format. So if I print today's date and time, oh my goodness, my Python is not working again. That's interesting. Okay, so I guess I'm going to, let's try shutting down all kernels and then restarting the kernels and seeing if that helps. Kernel unknown, and then now let me go ahead and maybe I'm going to have to go through this one without Python again. Let me shut it down and see what happens. Python 3 ipykernel, that sounds great. If I'm running that, does it work? Okay, now we've got it working. It seemed that I needed to select the kernel and use that kernel. And once I've got that, then I'm able to import datetime. All right, so I've imported datetime and I printed out the datetime now in ISO format. And since I'm currently in California, the date is still July 13th here, and the time is 17:38 and 49.9 seconds. And so it prints this out in ISO format. You'll notice that the ISO format specifies the decimal number of seconds, so 0.939894 seconds. So 939 is already in milliseconds. 894 is in microseconds. So it prints out the current date and time down to the microsecond. It's quite detailed. All of that information is not really that useful to us. There are many different ways that we can get the more detailed information, but one of them is to just use string splitting options. Notice that the ISO format uses a capital T to separate the date and the time. So I can take that time and I can split it on capital T. The part before that capital T is the date. The part after that capital T is the time. And then I can split the hours, minutes, and seconds by splitting on a colon. And that allows me to split the time into hours, minutes, and seconds. And then I can print it out in Japanese. Jushichiji yonju bun desu. So we can see that we can get the hours, minutes, and seconds, and then print out hours and minutes using by inserting the appropriate kanji. So let's create a function that tells the current time. Let me call this function what time is it, and we'll specify the language in the file name. If the language is English, then I'll print hours and minutes with the English words. If the language is Japanese, I'll print hours and minutes with the Japanese words in between. And if the language is Chinese, I'll print the hours and minutes with the indicator before. And it looks like I've lost the minutes specifier there. Hour plus tian plus minutes plus fun. And otherwise it'll say, I don't know that language. Let's just define that function. And now that we've defined that function, we can say, what time is it? Right? And that'll run the what time is it function. And that will save the result using GTTS as a spoken file name so that we can then play back that file name. So let me do it in Japanese to start with, and then I'll change to English. If I run this in Japanese, it generates the audio file and saves it. It takes a while for it to access the internet and download the audio. Actually, it seems to take quite a while. There we go. And then we can play it.
17時41分です。
So, 17時41分です. Let's try changing it to English and see what it says.
17 hours and 41 minutes.
So if I switch to English, it will say it's 17 hours and 41 minutes. Let's try changing to Chinese and see what it says.
现在是17:41分。
So it'll give me the time back in English, Japanese, or Chinese just because of this if, then, elif statement, right? I've specified what to do if the language is English, Japanese, or Chinese. I haven't specified what to do in case of any other language. So these are the only three languages that my AI knows how to respond to. Let's follow the same principle. Let's create an AI that will respond with appropriate jokes in English, Chinese, or Japanese. AI doesn't know jokes unless you give it some jokes to train on. So in this case, we're not going to train a neural net. Rather, we're simply going to download a file containing jokes. So for example, in English, we can download these jokes. What did one pirate say to the other when he beat him at chess? He said, checkmatey. I burned 200 calories today. I left my food in the oven for too long. Right? Here's a series of jokes as a plain text file. This Yes Interactive Dad Jokes has been on the internet for a very, very long time. And you can see that each joke is a separate line in this plain text file. And the question and the answer are separated by these two angle brackets. And so what we'll do is we'll just download that. We'll use the requests package to get this particular URL. And then we'll get the text of that URL. And then we'll replace the left arrow, right arrow angle brackets with just space. And then we'll go ahead and we will, so what I've done here is I've read in the text from the internet, and then I'm writing it out to a file called jokesen.txt. And then once I've done that, I can read in the jokesen as a list using the readlines function. So the readlines function will read each line of the function as another item in this list. And then I get these, what did one pirate say to the other when he beat him at chess, checkmatey, and so on. If I go back here, I can open this jokesen.txt, and I can see that what it contains is simply these jokes that I've downloaded from the internet, printed out in plain text form. So these jokes were saved by this with open jokesen.txt as f.write, that corresponding joke, with the angle brackets substituted for plain spaces. Now I have a list of English jokes. Let's just print out just one of them. Let me just print, let's say, jokes en of, well, let's print the 45th joke. The 45th joke will be joke number 44. So let's just print the 45th joke. I just watched a documentary about beavers. It was the best dam show I ever saw. So it's a show about dams. These are bad puns in English. Let's try to find a similar list of bad jokes in Japanese. Here's another web page that's been on the internet for a very long time. This is from Gujo TV. These are, no, I don't want to translate it. So, tomato o toberu no chotto tomatote, right? And so on. A series of bad jokes in Japanese. All right. So we're going to use requests in order to get this raw binary file. And now an interesting thing happens. This raw binary file is not in Unicode. It's in Shift.js. And so we need to convert it. So we'll open jokesja.htm in the Shift.js format, and we will so first of all, I'll just open jokesja.htm as a binary file and write it as raw binary. And then I'll read in the jokes as plain text in order to get what this will do is this encoding equals Shift.js. When I read in from that file, it will automatically convert it to Unicode. Unicode is the standard coding for Python, and so it will automatically convert that file from Shift.js into a Unicode format that it can print. And we can see that now we have the raw HTML. We have doc type, and then we specify HTML, and then the header, and then we have a table with table body. Here's the row, and in each row, the second element is a level, ichinensei, right, the grade 1, and then the third element of that row is the actual joke, just listed out as a joke. And so what we want to do, and now we can open that joke if we want, that joke file if we want to, jokesja.htm. And you can see that I've actually got the, it's not UTF-8 encoded. I know it's Shift.js encoded, so it can't even open it on my computer. All right, fine. So since it's Shift JIS encoded, what I want to do is to save it as a plain text file, and then I want to take that plain text file and convert it to Unicode format and extract out the joke from each of these. So one way I can do that is using Beautiful Soup. I can open texts.ja. What was texts.ja? Texts.ja was this text, the plain text of that entire file has been read in as this string. This is just one long string, texts.ja. And that text has now been read in as an entire string. And so I'm going to parse it using Beautiful Soup with an HTML parser. And I know now that the joke is the third TD envelope inside each TR envelope. So I can go through and find all of the TR envelopes. And then inside each TR envelope, I find the TD envelopes. And then I just take the third one of those and take its text. And if I list out those strings, now I have the actual jokes. Tomato taberu no choto tomato de, and okane o torareta okane, and so on. So we have these series of, this jokes JA now is a series of jokes in Japanese. I'll print out just the 45th joke. I'm not sure if there are that many, let's say. Let's find out. All right, the 45th joke is nanimo hoshikaranai kuni Iran. Right, Iran is the country that doesn't want anything. All right, again, these are bad puns in Japanese. Iran is another way of saying I don't need anything. Right, bad puns. So now we have bad jokes in English and Japanese. Now let's try to find bad jokes in Chinese. I have no idea if these jokes are as bad as the jokes that we have in English and Japanese because I can't really read Chinese. But here's a series of jokes that I found in Chinese. And so let's go ahead and read in these jokes and whatever they are, and we'll use those as our jokes for Chinese. Again, I'll get this file in binary and download its content, and I will write it out as a raw binary file to jokeszh.htm. And it turns out that this one is also not in Unicode. This one is encoded in GB2312. And so I'll go ahead and read in that text as GB2312, and that will convert the file format, just convert the text from GB2312 into Unicode. So now I have the HTML file, which is all in Unicode finally, but it's still kind of complicated. If we look at this, let's see, where are the actual jokes? It turns out that the actual jokes are down here in this one single long paragraph with a style of line height 150%. They're all in this one long paragraph. And then each joke starts with a boldface, a bold font title. And that title is only distinguished by having this little circle symbol at the beginning. Right? If we go to the jokes file, you can see that there's this little circle that specifies the title of the joke. And then we have the whole text of the joke. And then here's a circle that specifies the title of another joke. And then here's the whole text of that joke. And so we can, basically what we want to do is we just want to go through and find the paragraph that has a style of line height 150%. And now I'm going to read in that entire paragraph. I'll just find, there's really just one paragraph. So rather than finding a list, rather than using find all to find all of the paragraphs, I'll just find the first one. The first paragraph that has a style of a line height 150% style, I'll read that one in. And in that paragraph, I'm going to replace every boldface with an empty string. I'm just going to get rid of these boldface characters because I'm going to just assume they're not necessary. I'm also going to take these line break symbols and I'm just going to get rid of them. Replace the line break symbol with an empty string. And now I've got the content of that entire paragraph without the line breaks and without the spaces. Now all I need to do is I need to split it on those open circle symbols, right? Every joke starts with one of these open symbols. And so if I split that string using those open symbols, then the result is a series of raw jokes, right? Each of those raw jokes is now text, and I can just split that text at new lines, strip away the extra space, add a colon at the end of each new line, at the end of the first new line, at the end of the first line. So what it will be is I'll take this line, add a colon at the end, and then append this line after it, right? And then that will allow me to then create a list of jokes. This jokes zh dot append joke plus slash n. So I'll take this joke and I'll append each of the line in these lines, right? Lines, I'm going to take that raw joke and split it at new line characters. And then I'm going to take each of those lines and then just append them to the current joke. I'll append that current jokes to jokes zh. So I do that and I have joke number 0 is this joke, joke number 1 is this joke, and so on. Remember, this joke is the same joke that we saw at the very beginning of the file. It starts out with this title, colon, this joke. Joke number 1 is this title, colon, this joke, and so on. And so we can say, here's joke 0 is this title followed by this joke. Joke 1 is this title followed by this joke, and so on. All right, now we actually have a list of jokes in English, a list of jokes in Japanese, and a list of jokes in Chinese. And so now we finally have enough information to create a function that will allow our AI to tell us a joke. We'll specify the language in which we want the joke and the audio file to which it should be printed. So it will just choose a random choice from the jokes, right? So it'll open jokes English or jokes Japanese or jokes Chinese.txt. After it opens that file, it will read in all of the lines and then it will choose one of those lines at random, strip away the white space, and then generate that audio in the specified language and save it in the file, in the audio file. So let's define that function. We'll save it to joke.mp3 and we'll start out with a Japanese joke.
ドキドキしながら歌うよ童謡。童謡。
Right. Doki Doki Shinagara Utao yo Doyo Doyo. And this is a joke based on the two different ways in which you can write the word doyo, the two different meanings. Let's get a joke in English. What do you call a pig that plays basketball? A ball hog.
What do you call a pig that plays basketball? A ball hog.
This is again a bad pun, just like all of these other jokes, because a ball hog in basketball is somebody who keeps the ball all to themselves, but a hog is also another name for a pig. Let's try a joke in Chinese, just because we want one in a language that we don't have any idea what it means. Here's a joke in Chinese, and now it's synthesizing the audio file, and this one is a little bit longer than all of the previous audio files. This looks like the second joke from that file.
姐夫的车牌号00544，义乡镇企业领导中途遇见了小姨子，赶紧刹车。小姨子，姐夫又换新车了，够威风啦！00544，车牌号也换啦。姐夫，这个车牌号才硬呢。
All right. Well, none of these jokes are very funny in any language, and since I don't even speak Chinese well enough to know what's supposed to be funny about this joke, even if it were funny. Sorry about that. I'll just cut it off. Let's give our AI one more capability. Let's say that our AI is going to be able to tell us what day it is today. So we're going to, again, import the date time package, and then we'll have it print out today's year, today's month, and today's day. Right? So we can get the year, month, and day. The year is 2025, the month is 7, and the day where I am right now in California is the 13th. I think that where you are, the day is now the 14th. And so we can take those numbers and we can convert them to days in the local in the current locale. So there are ways to do this inside the date time package. I think I showed you some of those, Python date time. If we go to the modules for printing out these objects, you can see that we can actually print out the weekday in the locale's full name. So this will print using the locale on your computer. So if your computer is set for English, it will print in English, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, etc. If you're in German, it will print in Sonntag, Montag, etc. Rather than use the date time package, I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way, and I'll just use arrays of strings. I'll create And if the language is English, I'll say that the weekdays are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The 0th weekday I'll leave as an empty string because the ISO weekday will actually generate a number between 1 and 7. And so Sunday will come back as day 7 rather than as day 0. Similarly, the months will come back as a number between 1 and 12. And so month 0 I'll leave as an empty string. Month 1 will be January, month 12 will be December. And then finally, I'll say that the text of today's date is the weekday, followed by the month, followed by the day and the year. In Japanese, it's a little bit simpler. The weekdays, the 0th weekday is again a blank, but now since each weekday is just one character, I can actually make the weekdays an entire string. Weekdays of 0 is a blank, weekdays of 1 is getsu, weekdays of 2 is ka, etc., all the way up to Sunday, which is weekdays of 7. And then I'll print out that getsuyobi or kayobi or nichiyobi, and then follow that by the number and then the month, the number and then the day, the number and then the year. And similarly in Chinese, even the weekdays are almost just numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., except for Sunday. Sunday has this special name. And so we'll go ahead and print the weekday followed by the number and then the month, the number and then the day, and the number and then the year. And so in this way, we use if, elif, and elif in order to specify how to read off the current day. So let's try reading off the date in English to start with, I guess.
Today is Sunday, July 13th, 2025.
Where I am, it's still Sunday, July 13th. Let's try it in Japanese.
今日は日曜日、7月13日、2025年。
And then finally, let's try it in Chinese.
今天是星期日，7月13日，2025年。
All right, so now we have the 3 basic functionalities that we want to give to our AI agent. We want it to be able to tell us the current time, tell us the current date, or to tell us a joke. And so let's create a personal assistant that will listen to what I say, and in response to the things that I say, it will either tell me tell me the time, tell me the day, or tell me the joke. And the way that we're going to do this is we're going to have it listen for particular keywords. I'm going to run the speech recognizer. While true, I will run the speech recognizer. I will adjust for ambient audio, and then I will try to listen to the microphone in order to get the audio from the microphone. And if there is audio, I will send that audio to the internet and ask Google's speech recognizer to transcribe it for me. And so I'll get the text back. The possible exceptions are that we might get an unknown value, meaning that it found audio, but it couldn't recognize it. And in this case, we'll go back and try the loop again. Or a request error, meaning that it couldn't reach the internet. And so it'll go back and try the loop again. Or a wait timeout error, which means that it didn't hear anything. And in this case, it will go back and hear that again. If all of those, if none of those exceptions are fired, then we'll assume that the text was heard. And it'll say, I heard this text. And then it will check inside that text to see if the keywords are there. So we'll have an if, elif, elif, where it will check for keyword 0. Keyword 0 is either what time or nanji, right? So it will check to see if that keyword is there, then it assumes that what you want to know is you want to hear what time it is. If keywords 1 is there, keyword 1 is either the word joke or the word jodan. If I say anything that contains the word joke, then it will tell me a joke. And if I say anything that contains the keyword what day, then it will tell me the day. And if it doesn't know any of those things, then it will say, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you, and then it will try the loop again. So here's this entire function, personal assistant. I'll go ahead and define that function. And then now let's try running it. Let's try it first of all in English so that we can, hopefully that'll work out. Let's see. And then once I've done that, I'll read in the file test.mp3 and I'll play it back using IPython. What time is it right now?
18 hours and 01 minutes.
So the time currently is 18 hours and 01 minutes here in California. Can you tell me a joke?
How do cows count? With a calculator.
How do cows count? They count with a calculator. All right. What day is it today? What day is it today? What day is it today? Can you tell me what day it is? It seems that it is not understanding what day is it. All right, tell me a joke then.
What do you call an owl that does magic tricks? Houdini.
So that's interesting. When it heard this keywords two, it did what day is it? Oh, I don't have a break here. Otherwise, it does the loop again. So let me actually add a break statement here. I guess there's a bug in my code. I need to redefine this. Notice that keywords two in text ran the what day is it option. It printed out an audio, but after printing out that audio, it didn't break the loop. Instead, it went back and tried the loop again. So let me redefine that and let me try again with the what day is it. Can you tell me what day is today?
Today is Sunday, July 13th, 2025.
Well, there we go. We discovered that we need to debug our code a little bit. Let's try it in Japanese. 今日は何日でしょうか?
今日は日曜日、7月13日、2025年。
Let's try it again. 冗談教えてください。
亀に文句を言ったもっと亀。
All right. 亀に文句言ってもっと亀。All right, let's try again. 今何時ですか?
18時4分です。
There we go. So we have our personal assistant that now responds to reasonable requests and gives us reasonable answers. The homework then for this week is just going to be to create a function that has these what time is it, tell me a joke, what day is it, and personal assistant functions. And this function is actually, the homework this week is really pretty similar to exactly the functions that I have listed. So I think we'll be able to just copy what time is it, tell me a joke, what day is it, and personal assistant into the homework 14 file. Let me open up homework 14 and find out if that's true. Homework 14 has, first of all, what time is it? And it has inputs that are language and file name. And the file name is a file name to which the audio should be recorded. So let me go back to the notebook and see if I can just copy out the way that the notebook did that. What time is it? We should take the date and time from the current date and time, hours, minutes, and seconds, and then print out the date. Save the time as an output. So let me go ahead and copy this. And I'll go ahead and just paste it over here. All right, so then I've got the date and time, hours, minutes, and seconds. I get some text, and then I synthesize that text and save it to the file name. Similarly, tell me a joke. We'll just take in a language and an audio file name, and it will save the joke in that audio file name. So let's find, where do we have this tell me a joke? We get the file name. We look up that text file name that contains the jokes, but now we have that text file name, so that should be all right. And then we choose one joke at random from that text file name, synthesize it, and play it back. So the file name is jokes_%s.text, where %s is the language specified as a 2-letter indicator. We open that file name, read in the jokes, choose a joke at random from that file name, strip off the white space, and then synthesize that joke and save it to the audio file. What day is it? I think similarly, what day is it should be similar to what we did here. Let's see, what day is it should find today's day and year and month and day and weekday. And then it should synthesize a text and write that text to the audio file using the appropriate language. So let me go ahead and try just copying these things over and see if that works. And let me make sure my indenting is correct. Today equals date time dot date dot today. And then finally, the personal assistant should listen for the input. And if it hears what time is it, it should specify the time. What day is it? It should specify the date. Or tell me a joke, it should specify the joke. So that's pretty much what we just did in the notebook here. We have language, English, Japanese, Chinese, speech package, synthesize. Oh, it has here speech package. I'm not sure what that is, but let me go ahead and copy this over. So we have if language equals English, Japanese, Chinese, speech package dot synthesize. Maybe that's something that's saved here. Well, it's rather than doing speech package dot synthesize, let me do GTTS. Let's say GTTS dot GTTS dot synthesize. GTTS. It's in this format, G, capital T, capital T, capital S. And then the text will be, I don't know that language, and the language will be EN. And then we'll want to save that to this file name. So we'll synthesize, I don't know that language, and save that to the file name. Or if we do know the language, we will then run the what day is it package, or run the tell me a joke package, or print I will try again because I don't know. All right, now let me just save this file. I think this actually covers everything we need for the homework. I think we just need to copy these files in, fix this one bug in the personal assistant where instead of GTTS, it was reading in some other package. If we have all of that, let's try running it. Okay. We'll run homework 14 personal assistant. 今何時でしょうか?
18時9分です。
All right, let's ask for a joke. 冗談教えてください。
モグラの歯はもうぐらぐら。
All right, so it seems to be working. Oh, let's try date too, just to check. 今日は何日ですか?
今日は日曜日、7月13日、2025年。
All right, let's check to make sure that the grade.py grades it okay. And it looks like the grade.py found the jokes. What happens when a frog car dies? He needs a jump. 6 successes out of 6 tests run. There we go. So then all we have to do is check it in using GitHub Desktop. We'll go ahead and check in homework 14. And push it to the origin. It's taking a few minutes. There we go. It seems like it's pushed. Well, it looks like we have a little bit more to do. So let's do this update lecture 14 notebook and push that to the origin. And now let me go to my GitHub and see if it all got pushed appropriately. Let me change to J. Hasegawa student so we can see what got pushed that way. And intro speech understanding and 2025 spring and lecture 14. And let's just find homework 14.py. There it is. And it looks like it's all there. So if you have all of this, go ahead and copy it and go to the this week's homework 14, and you should now be able to just copy in the URL for that homework. It says here, enter the URL of your copy of homework 14.py. That's all. That's the end of this semester. Finish homework 14, finish all of the other homeworks if you haven't yet done them. Your grade for the semester will be the grade based on just finishing all of the homeworks. If you tried one of the earlier homeworks and got a 0 on it or didn't get 10 points, try it again. You can do each homework as often as you want until July 31st. So please go ahead and do those homeworks in order to get the grade. Your grade really will be entirely based on the average of your homework scores. So please do that. Let's finish up today by just taking attendance. Okay, here's the attendance code. So please, I see that there are 8 of you online here. So please go ahead and enter your attendance using this code. Thank you. All right, we've got 2 people have entered. Can we get 6 more? That's 3 now. Can we get 3 more people? 4 now. Now we need 4 more people. 5 now. Now I think we need 3 more people. I think there were 8. One person has already left. Can we get 3 more people to register attendance? Hmm. 3 more people. Can you register attendance? Let me go ahead and end the recording and